This is the result when a city designed for excess finally runs out of luck. As of January 2026, the famous Las Vegas Strip is changing, and parts of it are dying. We are witnessing a level of emptiness that nobody expected here. Iconic resorts that defined generations have been reduced to dirt lots, and for the first time, luxury towers are shutting down entire floors because they cannot afford to keep the lights on. From the tunnels beneath the streets to the drying lake that powers them, the cracks in the facade are becoming impossible to ignore. This is not just a slump, but the new reality of Sin City. To understand the silence falling over parts of the Strip today, look at the LIE that built this city. For 80 years, Las Vegas sold the world on the idea of infinite growth. It started in the dust of 1931 when gambling became legal, and it exploded in 1946 with Bugsy Siegel's Flamingo. The formula was simple: build it bigger, make it brighter, and they will come. That model worked for decades as it survived the mob, the recessions, and the transition to corporate mega resorts. By 2026, the math has stopped working. Visitor numbers in late 2025 crashed to levels unseen since the early 2000s, dropping over 7% in a single year. The infinite growth machine has finally hit a wall. The death of the resort that started it all signals the end of an era. On July 17, 2024, the doors of the Mirage locked forever. This was not just another hotel closing. When Steve Wynn opened it in 1989, the Mirage reinvented Las Vegas as the first mega resort, proving you could put a fire-spewing volcano on the sidewalk and fill a hotel with gold. Today, if you walk past that site, the volcano and tigers are gone. The building sits as a hollowed-out shell, while crews strip it to its bones to become a hard rock hotel. Seeing the father of modern Las Vegas gutted and silent serves as a stark reminder that in this town, history has an expiration date. The Mirage's closure was a funeral, but the Tropicana's end was an execution. For 67 years, the Tiffany of the Strip stood at one of the busiest intersections in the world as a link to the Rat Pack era, where history actually lived. That ended violently on October 9, 2024. In the middle of the night, a fireworks show accompanied the implosion that brought the two towers crashing down in 22 seconds. Now, in early 2026, that corner is just a massive dirt lot. We are told a baseball stadium for the Athletics is coming, but right now, it is a gaping hole in the city's heart. The swiftness of its destruction proved that Las Vegas has zero sentimentality for its past. The most disturbing sign of the fall is not the buildings they demolished, but the ones they are quietly shutting down while still open. The Venetian and Palazzo complex made a decision that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. They announced the permanent closure of the top floors of the Palazzo Tower. This is not a renovation. More than 1,000 luxury suites were taken offline, simply because they cost too much to operate. This is the rot economy in action. These rooms exist, fully furnished, yet sit in total darkness every night. It is an admission that Las Vegas has built more capacity than it can actually support. If you want to know the truth behind the headlines, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell since we investigate these stories every single week. Now, let's look at what is happening beneath the streets. While the towers above go dark, a war has been waged on the world below. For decades, hundreds of people lived in the storm drains beneath the Strip. They built elaborate communities in the pitch black, surviving the flash floods and the filth. But in 2025, the county initiated a massive $15 million project to overhaul these tunnels. This was an eviction disguised as flood control. Crews swept through the underground network, clearing out encampments and forcing inhabitants to the surface. The result was immediate and visible, as the invisible population of Las Vegas was pushed onto the sidewalks and into the neighborhoods, creating a crisis that the city was not prepared to handle. The consequences of clearing the tunnels have been chaotic. Throughout late 2025, residents in nearby neighborhoods reported a surge in homeless encampments, unlike anything they had seen before. When you displace over 1,000 people from the underground with nowhere to go, they appear in parks, behind strip malls, and on the steps of the very casinos that exclude them. The contrast is jarring. You have tourists paying $800 a night for a room, stepping over people who were living underground just months ago. It has created a tension in the city that feels ready to snap, exposing the utter lack of a safety net in a town built on cash. The environmental crisis is even more alarming than the social one. The lifeblood of Las Vegas is Lake Mead, and in January 2026, the prognosis is grim. Despite a few wet winters in the past, the long-term trend is a downward spiral. Federal projections released this month place the lake's level below 1,075 feet, triggering serious shortage conditions. The famous bathtub ring on the rocks is now a towering white scar and a constant reminder of how much water has been lost. The city has done miracles with water conservation by recycling almost every drop used indoors, but you cannot recycle water that is not there. The fear involves more than fountains turning off. It concerns whether a city of 2 million people can exist here in 20 years. The economic cracks are showing up in the paychecks of the locals. In the fall of 2025, the city shed nearly 5,000 jobs in just 3 months. That is a terrifying number for a town that relies entirely on service and hospitality. The Rio laid off hundreds of workers, and the closure of the Tropicana and Mirage deleted thousands of positions overnight. Sure, construction jobs are temporary, but career casino roles are vanishing. Unemployment in Las Vegas has crept up to 5.7%, significantly higher than the national average. For the dealers, the maids, and the bartenders who keep this city running, the boom times feel like a distant memory as they watch their workplaces turn into dust or construction sites. Beyond the economics, Las Vegas is suffering from an identity crisis. The city is systematically destroying the things that made it unique. The cheap buffets are dead, free parking is long gone, and the themed casinos, like the pirate ships and castles, are being replaced by generic glass towers that could belong to any city in the world. When Hard Rock finishes converting the Mirage, it will be another sleek corporate guitar tower. It might be profitable, but it is boring. The de-theming of the Strip is driving away the middle-class families who used to flock here for a fun, affordable vacation. Now, unless you are a whale willing to drop thousands, Vegas does not seem to want you. To see where this path leads, look at the Moulin Rouge. This was the first racially integrated casino in Las Vegas, where black entertainers could finally stay in the hotel they performed in. It opened in May 1955 and was closed by October of the same year. For 70 years, that site has been a curse. The building burned down in 2003, and the tower was demolished in 2010. Today, it is an empty lot on Bonanza Road. Dozens of developers have promised to bring it back, and every single one has failed. It stands as a monument to the fact that in Las Vegas, being historic does not save you. And once a place goes dark, it often stays that way. The city's answer to all these problems is a massive pivot to sports. They are betting the house that the Oakland Athletics baseball stadium will save the Strip. The plan is to build a $1.5 billion ballpark right on top of the Tropicana's grave. As of early 2026, the excitement is mixed with skepticism. The construction timeline is tight, aiming for a 2028 opening, but locals are wary. They remember the projects that stalled during the last recession, like the Fontainebleau, which sat as a rusted skeleton for 15 years before finally opening. If the economy dips further, that baseball stadium site could easily become the world's most expensive dirt lot. For the people who actually live here, the fall is not about casinos closing, but about survival. Las Vegas used to be an affordable escape from California prices, but that is over. Rent prices have surged, and utility bills are climbing as the grid strains to keep the air conditioning running in record heat. The homeless crisis has shifted from addiction to economic displacement. We are seeing seniors and families living in weekly motels or cars because the rent math does not add up. The tunnels were a symptom, but the disease is a housing market that has left the service class behind. When the workers cannot afford to live in the city they serve, the machine breaks. Las Vegas is resilient and tends to survive everything. The optimism for 2026 relies heavily on conventions, like CES, and the arrival of huge sporting events. There is a belief that the slump of 2025 was just a correction, a pause before the next boom. However, the Vegas that emerges from this transition will be different. It will be a corporate campus of stadiums and glass towers, rather than the neon playground of the past. The fall we are witnessing is the death of the romantic idea of Las Vegas. The scrappy and exciting town is being paved over, and what is replacing it feels sterile, expensive, and exclusive. The empty lots and silent streets are just part of the deal this city makes with the devil. Las Vegas has never been about preservation, because it eats its own history for breakfast. The dunes died for the Bellagio, the Desert Inn died for the Wynn, and now the Tropicana and Mirage have died for a ballpark and a guitar. The silence on those corners is temporary, but the loss is permanent. We are watching the real-time erasure of the 20th century. The empty casinos are not a sign of failure, but the molting skin of a snake that is getting ready to shed its past one more time, regardless of who gets left behind. Las Vegas is a city built on a gamble, and right now, the stakes have never been higher. From the empty floors of the Palazzo to the dry rocks of Lake Mead, the warning signs are flashing brighter than the neon ever did. The city is betting everything that it can reinvent itself before the water runs out or the tourists stop coming. Only time will tell if the house wins this one. If you found this breakdown of Las Vegas interesting, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next deep dive. Thanks for watching.